Welcome to RGBA, where we cover technology news, cool gadget, and do product reviews. This is episode number 37. My name is Alexandre Valliere-Lagacé, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tade Renard. This week, iOS 10.3 beta, 3D TVs are extinct, and the truth about Samsung's woes.
So the biggest news this week, iOS 10.3 beta. I think you have it on your phone. I didn't change it yet.
I'm crazy like that. First beta, ooh, shiny. Let's install it.
Yeah, no, I didn't see anything. I usually wait to see if there's anything interesting, and then I install it if there's like new features, like last year with Night Shift. But
yeah,
or just after WWDC when the new iOS comes out, then for sure you have to install it, even though your battery lasts like 2 hours for the first beta or two.
Yeah, it's not that bad this time because it's a Dutch release. It's not a major release, right. So your battery is affected. That's for sure. I'm ending my days at around actually get into low power mode, which I never get to usually on a regular day. So yeah, you can say it's probably a good 20% more batteries, but it's not like 60% more batteries. So it's pretty livable. And this time around, there's no super big shiny new features, but there's a couple of very major and profound changes that can probably affect the next couple of years of releases, and probably new awesome features from Apple for the iOS ecosystem.
So what's your favorite new feature?
Seriously, the one we don't see, the one that has the most impact, because I know that this is the groundwork for something important, which is the Apple file system, the new file system that Apple introduced at WWDC regarding all its future devices. And they announced it was going to be shipped in 2017. So here we are, January, the very first device, and Apple's most selling device already has a feature. So
I think they said all devices by the end of 2017 will be using APFS. Wasn't that?
Yeah, we all figured it was going to be something like in September or October or something like that, or maybe even just
with the new phone and the new iOS.
Yeah, like 11, maybe even 11.1 release for Christmas or whatever. But no, this time the first beta of a dot release for 2017 already has it. So right off the bat, this does not seem to be quite important because it's so internal, so very low level. But basically, it's a new file system. The iOS ecosystem will benefit from a bunch of new features, mainly snapshot features. Not sure if they're going to implement this. But let's say, for example, theoretically, what they can do is, let's say you're on iOS 10.3 and you don't like it. You could revert back to 10.2 with a single click, and everything will revert back in just a few seconds. There's no need to wipe and reinstall. It's going to be able to snapshot things like that. So that's one of the features. Have you seen the video for APFS? I don't remember exactly what else is there.
Like the WWDC session?
Yeah.
No. Well, maybe, but I don't recall anything from it. So probably not.
Yeah. So anything better is always a good thing. And in this case, I know there's a bunch of features that got John Siracusa quite excited. So we are probably going to see new stuff, maybe even this year, that Apple is working on, and will be quite interesting. So let's keep our eyes out for this one. The other features that are apparent for now, there's something cool for you guys that have AirPods. You can finally use Find My Phone to find your AirPods, which is kind of like the app that was released a couple of weeks ago and got kicked out of the App Store. And so basically you click Find My AirPods and they start to crank out music at high volume and help you find them. So that's going to be useful if you tend to lose your AirPods. Here in Canada, in the snow, it can often happen.
No dark mode?
No dark mode, so that's a big loss.
So there was talk about theater mode, but now people are saying that theater mode is actually for your iPod, not your iPod, your iPod Watch, your Apple Watch. So when you're in the movies, this is still gonna vibrate, but the screen is not gonna light up. So you don't have the flashing light every time you're in the theater. So that's good.
Yeah.
Because I know people were setting up like watch faces just to go to the movies, like the super minimal one, just with the hand, the minutes and hour hand.
Yeah, I use just the top right, which complication is that? The
modular
complication of watch face. Yeah, modular watch face with just the time.
Completely empty.
Yeah, exactly, and green, so it's a bit easy on the eyes, like night stand mode.
And another pretty big feature, devs are now going to be able to reply to comments, like reviews on their apps. So I have no idea how that's going to be implemented. I guess through iTunes Connect or something, and it's going to be public, so everybody's going to be able to see the reply. So when you look at the reviews, somebody gives a 1-star review about something not available, then the developers are going to be able to reply and say, actually, this might be my fault, it might be hidden, but the feature is actually here, you can use it here. I don't know how it's going to work. It might be weird. People are talking about different countries, different app stores. It's going to be a lot of stuff to reply to, but we'll see how it works. I think Android has this for a couple of years, and they basically just don't use it.
Yeah, well, you can. I've seen replies from developers to some of those comments. I'm not sure. I think on Android though it's threaded, so it's an ongoing discussion. There's like no end. It's not. Apple has more rules they're going to put in place. Like, for example, there's going to be only one reply to a review, so you cannot discuss the problem in the review section. So that's a good thing, because they tend to get pretty awful on Android. As soon as you get like a developer that's responsive and there's a bunch of comments, and even some of them even say like thank you just when people are saying great app, so that's just pollution for me. But yeah, basically Apple's going to rework the whole review system, including the leaving a review section. So they will eventually enforce their own system. You will not be able to bug the user for reviews like it's currently the happening with everything. You will be able to ask for review 3 times per year, and people will be able to disable reviews pop-ups altogether in the OS. So that's good for users because some developers really, really are abusing this. Every single little release you get a bunch of pop-ups, and this can get on my nerves easily. I'm not too sure. I'm fully on board with Apple's 3 asks per year. Noticeably, because if you release a major release and you want some reviews, it would be the appropriate time to ask. But if you already did 3 times in the past, you're screwed for the year. So that will not help, because that's also a marketing tool, like having reviews. So it's good that we cannot abuse it as much, but it can also be a problem because it can help a developer stand out from the crowd. And also Gruber had a couple of questions to Apple, and he got answers. So basically, so we're gonna get not threaded comments that, like, we know, only one reply, 3 prompts per year. That's it. No matter how many updates you crank out, there's gonna be new APIs from Apple to trigger that request. And eventually they're going to prevent you from using third party. So they don't have a definite date for that, but it will come eventually. So you better be on board with that when the new thing ships. Existing apps in the App Store will not be penalized. So if you already have an app and you already ask for reviews the old way, if you don't do any updates, you're safe. But probably that day will come when you're going to push a new update and it's going to be rejected because you are asking for reviews yourself instead of using the Apple APIs. And I posted a little text on Ipsopixel about maybe how we can manage that better. But it's mostly like just a brain dump of what I was thinking. And in the end, it maybe does not really make sense. But I was hoping maybe that we could follow the SEMVer rules, which is semantic versioning rules. Basically, if you release like a dot release, then you will lose your previous review score, because normally if you release a dot release, you probably had a bug and you want your reviews to drop to 0 so you can get new reviews. But if you release a major version, then you might not want to lose all your scores because you worked hard for this version and you want to benefit from your past.
Yeah, because that's a big problem. You just to explain, you don't, when you release a new version on the App Store, your star count goes to 0 and review count goes to 0, goes back down to nothing, and that, yeah.
It can be a blessing when you got a big problem, a crashing problem, for example, that people are having. So you start to get like 1-star reviews. But it can also be like a problem because if you already have a good reputation and you want to continue like that, you take care of your app, you take care of your customers, but every time you still lose your score. So
they said that that's not going to be not handled, but that won't change for now.
Well, they said that it's still being thought of, so they probably don't have a definitive answer for that one for now. Probably it will come in the future, but we don't have the details for now. It's probably still being debated inside Apple because it's not an easy problem to tackle.
So you say on hot fixes, no change to reviews?
No, hot fixes, yes, change to reviews because you should be able to fix your problems and reset your counter. But when you release a major version, then you would not like to lose your reputation. But then again, let's say you have a, 1.0.1 release and there's a bunch of problems and you said, okay, just forget about it. I'm going to start 2.0. I'm going to be finished in a week and I'm going to release it. Then you also want to lose your scores. So even then, there's no way to, there's no clear path of how to handle that. So that's probably why it's still being discussed at Apple and everything, because it can be a problem.
So you can reset when it's a major version and a hotfix, and don't reset when it's a minor.
Well, that could make sense, but there's always scenarios where the opposite is also true. So in the end, what I ended up just writing is just thinking out loud, if you want, and there's no easy way to solve this problem. So there will probably need to be some pretty fine path, maybe maybe a specific versioning scheme that everybody adheres to and can foresee what's going to be the impact if I move from a dot release to a dot release or to a major version. So I don't know. I'm just hoping that they do this right because it's the perfect time since they're just reformatting the whole review system that now we have these new rules also for reset counters.
Okay, and there's also a new personal settings in the settings. I don't have it, so I can't really talk about it.
Let me take a look.
To
you mean like the big card where you have
yeah, on top.
Yeah, the very first thing, and when you go in settings, is your big face and your name and all your personal settings. So name, phone numbers, password and security, payment, shipping, iCloud, iTunes. So now the iTunes and App Store are moved over here, the iCloud too. You got a list of your devices there, so you can see how many $1 million you gave Apple. and and yeah, it's better because with just 2 clicks you can get to your iCloud storage. So you can quickly see exactly how much you're using. So that's pretty nice. Payments and shipping. You have your address, your credit card on file. Everything is there. So yeah, it's pretty neat and tidy. So that's pretty good.
Do you think that's paving the way for the iPad multiple accounts?
It's a very good step because I can clearly see that if you get into this Apple ID section, they can just add an extra button saying switch user, and that's it. You're switching and everything is fine. Also, we might not think about it, but maybe Apple FS has something in place for that. Maybe the snapshotting feature could be used for that. Instead of being system-wide, it could be user-wide. So you would kind of like on our old computers, you can get like a partition just for a specific OS. But in this case, you can probably have like a mini partition inside the existing partition for each user. And Apple FS can probably help you switch between those super easily, super fast, which would be even better than like logging off, logging in, and reloading everything. It can probably be done on the fly. So that could be something that the APFS give us.
Yeah, I'd see it for school, like one administrative account on the iPad. So then you see the first card of the administrator, then a bunch of students at the bottom. So then the administrator can manage what the students want to see, restrict whatever he wants per student. And then students just log in using their passcode. Or you have the same thing as you have on the Mac there, like a little bubbles with your face. You just tap your face, enter your passcode or Touch ID, and then you have access to your iPad, shared iPad with everybody.
Yeah, they already have some tools in place for education market that is not available for the home market. So hopefully this was a first try. Maybe this will help to get in something in place that's quite useful, because just for families, like just for an example, my kids started to play with Duolingo to learn English a bit better, and they each have to use their own device because there's no way to swap users and there's only one app. So unless you log out every time and you log back in, which is a pain, then there's no real solution. So by having fast user switching, they could switch from users anytime they pass around the iPad. So that would be much, much faster. And with Touch ID, it's even better. So it's the best thing.
Yeah, because the iPad is quickly becoming the only home computer. And we used to have our home computer multiple accounts per person, but now we have to have the same thing for iPads.
Yep. About that dark mode, that was the first thing I tried to look at. I quickly ran into the accessibility settings because I'm thinking that there's probably something related to that, and that maybe people with certain disabilities would need something darker, and that's where the dark mode could be hidden, but there was nothing, so I was pretty sad. You also mentioned that there's a one-handed iPad keyboard. This was found out by Steve Troughton-Smith.
He's always digging up when there's new betas or new version, and he digs up stuff like this.
Yeah, weird. I don't know if I would like one-handed keyboard on iPad, but anyways.
Yeah, so it's basically just a window that you drag around like a keyboard.
Like the PIP, like the picture-in-picture?
Yep. But a keyboard. So I don't know. If you want to use your iPad one-handed, and you just put the keyboard next to your right thumb on the bottom of the screen. I used to like the split screen keyboard on the iPad. Does it still exist?
Yeah, no, not anymore.
You'd split it up and then you'd bring it up a bit so it'd be perfect for when you're holding your iPad two-handed. Just bring the keyboard in the middle of the thing. Yeah,
I love that one too. It was much better than having like the Genius at the Apple Store do with two-thumb technique, but holding the iPad with just the tip of their fingers. So yeah, I don't like that position. It's not the best.
Okay, so another feature of that came out with 10.3 beta is we're going to be able to add multiple icons to the app bundle when shipping to the App Store or something like that. We're not sure exactly how it works, but basically this paves the way for maybe dark mode. So developers are going to be able to include a second icon when you switch the whole phone to dark mode, or maybe promotions like a Christmas icon. I don't know. Fantastic. Or just basically for the calendar, they can have like 31 icons and just switch it every day. But I don't know, are they going to ask for permission to, like every morning you get a notification, do you want to switch the icon to the current date? I don't know how it's going to work.
No, I'm hoping it's going to probably be like for the notification or something like that. You're going to get one pop-up saying that you enable such app to change your icons. Well, its own icon, not every icon. And you grant it yes, and then you will be able to take advantage of this new feature, which, like you said, could be very useful for marketing purposes and also for usability. Just having your dates like that, or maybe just change the color of something when something is happening in a short amount of time. Let's say you got a timer app, for example, and you can have the icon get red because your timer has expired or something. So this can also be done. Dates, little banners. We're probably going to start seeing a lot more banners on little icons like the beta, new, sale, Christmas, whatever, Black Friday, Yeah,
because there's a bunch of apps that hack like the badge icon to like the step counter. They use that instead, so they can use the icon now, I guess. That might be overkill though. You have to ship like 10,000 steps.
Yeah, that would be crazy, but still you can probably round them up to 100 or 1,000.
Yeah, something like that. So it's a whole lot of possibilities.
And for you developers out there, Steve Troughton-Smith even put up a little demo app on GitHub. So links will be in the show notes so you can take a look at this. Moving on. So there was a news this week. I was pretty happy with that. That the industry finally realized that 3D television is a scam and it sucks. So they are removing it. They are now saying that they will not be working on new 3D technologies, and they will be phasing out this 3D thing in upcoming models and focusing more on something else, which is HDR and 4K, which actually can make a difference for everyone in the living room and not just people with the glasses sitting in the middle of the couch. So I was pretty happy about that. I always thought that 3D was something that we were forced on to use. Well, not to use, but to have on our devices. I personally have 6 pairs of glasses, and I only opened one of them to try for 5 minutes, and that was the end for that. So
You have one?
Yeah.
A 3D
Yeah, my
TV?
living room. Yeah, my living room TV is 3D. It's an LG, so it's a passive 3D, not active. So it's like the movie theater, basically. It's just a bunch of little plastic goggles that filters one frame out of 2.
Did you ever watch a movie in 3D?
Yeah, I tried Harry Potter and stuff. Not very interesting.
Hey kids, put on your glasses. We're watching a movie.
Yeah, but the thing is, as soon as you got a family and you got a bigger couch than just a 2-place couch, you just move from the middle and then you start to have some focusing issues. So it's not something that's adaptable for a living room. It's like a curved TV. It's super nice when you're only one person in front of it. But if you're on the sides, it sucks. So
they'd have to be curved, but the other side.
You mean like instead of being convex would be like...
Instead of being like the inside of a circle, being the outside of a circle. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that would be weird.
I know, but viewing angles would be great.
Yeah, you can also be flat, and it also works.
Yeah,
because walls are flat, so
I know.
yeah. So this is good. Then we learned about the new Star Wars title. So this was quite cool. Quite different. The logo will be red instead of yellow.
What's that? Red.
I don't know.
Like it.
That's weird.
It looks almost pink.
Yeah, I know. It's weird, but there's probably more to it than just the color. Basically, the new Star Wars will be called The Last Jedi. And Jedi being a word that is also singular and plural, so it can be also the last Jedis if you want. So maybe there's going to be Sith coming back because it's red, and red is usually assigned to the bad guys in Star Wars, especially the Sith Lords and the Sith agents and everything. So I don't know, maybe Luke will come back from his hiding place. And yeah, spoiler alert, Luke is there. And then we're going to see maybe some epic fights with another Sith Lord that was also in hiding because Luke was in hiding. So
yeah, you tweeted something. I didn't know if it was a retweet or whatever this week about Yoda saying to Luke that he's the last Jedi. Like, after I pass, you're the last one.
Yeah, exactly. So, but maybe there's also somebody else that was hiding because Yoda was hiding on Dagobah for many years, but maybe there's also another Sith Lord that was doing the same thing. Because from what we learned from all that, those movies and all the TV shows and all, is that the Sith Lord are pretty patient and they can arise exactly when they are needed. So I would not be surprised to learn that there's some other Sith Lord that was just standing still for, I don't know, like 20 years, 30 years, just like Luke, and waiting and waiting and waiting because they know that Luke is not dead. He just went away and hide. So they probably did the same thing.
So what's the guy there, the hologram guy that talks to Kylo Ren all the time?
That big guy?
Yeah, big hologram guy. I'm sure he's really, really small in real life. He compensates with the hologram.
Most probably. Like a tiny creature like in Star Trek, like 2 inches high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's his part really. I've not read any books related to this guy, so I'm not sure exactly where he places himself. Is he a Sith Lord? Is he just somebody craving power? I'm not sure. I'm hoping he's a Sith Lord or something like that, or maybe just a general of a Sith Lord. And that big hidden Sith Lord might be the big reveal for this movie, so that could be fun to have another high impact, high strength opponent. Hopefully not cutting Luke's other hand.
He doesn't need a hand. You see, he has a nice metal one now.
Yeah, but he might get a second one, so that can be scary. And still on the Star Trek subject.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars. Yeah, sorry about that. So there was a big blog post by Todd Vaziri, basically pointing out that the trench run is not on the equator like most people think it is, and even promotional goods is. Basically, the trench with where Luke drops the missile is not going around the equator like we used to think about. It's actually just one of the one of the many vertical trench going from the north
to south
hemisphere. Yeah. So, and the reason behind everybody being misguided by that is that there's a bunch of scenes that are actually showing you like X-wings going in and turning right next to the equator, just to kind of like bring your attention to the thing that they're going to switch to the right and get into what you think is the trench. But basically, no, they eventually just curve to the left and go up to go north, and that's where the action goes. The plans in the movie make sense if you look at this little computer animation that took months to generate in those years. It's actually pretty clear that it's not on the equator, but because of those X-wing scenes, and also the very next one is when the X-wing actually go into the trench. It's very wide because we're close range, and it really looks similar to the big equator trench. So that was just a fun bit. And even in Legoland, you can even see like a big animated Lego Death Star with 3 TIE fighter following an X-wing, and they go around the equator. So we're not the only one that has this this misconception.
What did you think? Did you ever think about it? Like, oh, really? It's not there? Or you just figured it'd be in the equator?
I never realized it, so for me it was always the equator.
Yeah, me too. But then when you think about it, also when the Millennium Falcon gets stuck in the what's it called? Not the shield.
The hangar bay.
Yeah, but the hangar bays, they're in the equator and they're huge.
Yeah, it makes no sense because, like you say, that the size of the X-wing versus the space in the equator, the Death Star is so big. Yeah. It makes no sense in terms of proportions.
Unless it's on the dark side of the Death Star that we never see.
Yeah, perhaps.
And so, also, what's funny in the computer generation, the where it shoots there, like the little dome.
The
laser dome. I don't know how to call it.
Laser dome. Jeez, yeah.
It's centered in
the weapons array.
Yeah, it's centered in the little animation instead of being in the northern hemisphere like it is in the actual movie. But apparently, it took so much time to make that little stupid animation that they couldn't change it last minute.
Yeah, because the very first artwork that was provided to the computer animator was a painting or drawing of the Death Star with the dish to the right next to, well, at the equator. So what the computer animator does is that he takes this photograph or painting or whatever, and he converts that to a 3D model. But in those years, just plotting the dots, doing that little zoom sequence and turning around, this can take weeks of rendering time. So basically there was no time left to say, you know what? Screw that. Let's start over with the dome, with the weapons array in the northern hemisphere.
It's like a 5-minute fix right now.
Yeah, so they said just forget it. We're gonna ship it like that, and that was the scene with R2D2. So afterwards, when they do the big meeting and review the plans together, then we have the right one. But at this time, you have the wrong one. So this week we also had a great release from our good friends at Infuse. Basically, for those of you who listen to the show, you know that I'm pretty much in love with this app on my iOS devices. It's basically my default media player for everything. It handles almost any type of video file, but there was one limitation that prevented some very hardcore moviegoers to use. And it was for those of you who actually back up your DVDs or Blu-rays in ISO form, or basically just the video TS folder, or that .dvd media, which I don't know what this is, but basically it's another way of wrapping your DVD or inside a container. And basically it's just an MPEG 2 copy of the original content. So you get an uncompressed full-size version dumped, let's say on your NAS, for example. Well, before today, there was not a way to play this in Infuse, but now Infuse 5.2 adds exactly this, the support for ISO, video TS, and DVD media to the app. So they will show up as nice little thumbnails of the movie, and they'll get the nice artwork, the nice title, and you'll get able to watch them as if they were just a basic MP4 file. There's also a bunch of little fixes, basically faster streaming, NFS shares improvements, and you can also filter and sort your things basically much better. There's still one feature that I'm missing. I don't know if you ever saw that. Let's say you have a list of TV shows or movies or whatever, and there's like, I don't know, maybe, let's say there's like 10 you want to delete. So you can swipe and then click the little garbage icon and then delete, and confirm and then delete. So this is nice for one file, but if you have 10 files to do, it's a pain in the ass. So what I want to do is I want to do select files, but when you press that top right icon to select multiple files, it does a translation of the screen to the right, and that little play or unplayed circle is now hidden. So let's say you have a bunch of files and they have all similar names, like a TV series, for example, and you don't remember if you were like at episode 5 or 6 or 7, and now you cannot see which one you've seen. So you have to go back, delete, I don't know, like the just the one before where you are at now, and then you can go back and delete by selecting multiple files. So that's a big pain in the ass. There should be a way to, when you click that button, that the translation goes to the right, okay, fine, to show you that little radio button to select them, but the little circle should stay there so that you can see which files you already seen and are safe to delete. So that's just my personal gripe.
I didn't see any changes in Infuse. Like on my day-to-day use, I mean.
Yeah, no, there's nothing apparent except...
I have no gripes.
Yeah, okay, good. So links will be in the show notes if you want to see the list of changes. And yeah, go ahead with the next one.
So Samsung finally released What Happened to the Galaxy Note. It has a nice little picture explaining what exactly happens, what caused it to explode, and I think it pretty much it sums up what people were speculating. Like the battery is too compressed in the corners, and that's what catches on fire. I think that like the different layers touch each other. I don't know nothing about batteries, so this is all according to the little pictures they're giving us.
Yeah, if you go back, I don't remember exactly which show it was. There was a leak of a photo, like a cell phone photo of a presentation, probably something internal from Samsung.
Yeah, this was like this now,
where you can see that the battery layers were actually curved in the corners because there were not enough space around the batteries, not enough wrapping, if you want. And what this did is basically, upon manufacturing or an impact, or maybe just everyday use, these little insulators would not be sufficient to keep the anode and the cathode from touching. And basically when they touch, they do a short circuit. And that's when your battery leaks and gets super hot and catches fire. So that was the original problem with the shipped Galaxy Note 7. But then there was also another factor, that some of the batteries were okay in terms of the corners, but they also had a problem with
the jelly roll.
Yeah, well, the tip of the electrode was not placed properly. So if you think of a battery as, let's say, like a jelly roll, or like any type of cake that is basically like a rolled up cake, you have multiple layers. And there are 2 layers that have to be aligned so that every other layer are perfectly inlined. And not like, if you roll a cake, you'll see that one side will be like bumpier, if you want, because that's where the cake ends. And for batteries, it's very important that those many layers are actually the exact same length so that this bump does not appear. And in this case, this was happening, so that the bump was not helping in the corners when going around the battery. It was also causing the problem with the cathode and the anode, so that was not super nice. So Samsung, good guy Samsung, they recalled all their phones. They said, no problem, we're going to get a new battery in those. So they hired a second provider of batteries to maybe make a new set of battery for everyone. But you guess what? This new battery also had a problem. So they were not pretty lucky with that. And in this case, what problem there was is that if you think again about the layered cake, there's one thing that's called a separator that separates the negative electrode and the insulation tape that goes above the positive tab and eventually the positive electrode. Well, that separator was not well constructed and could actually pierce the separator and touch the negative electron. So basically this also gives a problem in terms of isolation and can also cause the same kind of problem. So I'm not sure if it was when charging, maybe it was overheating and the heat expansion caused that thing to burst, but basically that was another problem. And also there was a couple other batteries that also had either missing insulation tape or insufficient insulation tape. So basically, like 2 batteries, 4 problems, so many millions of dollars. It's just crazy that just
and many more millions.
Yeah, and just with this single product, I think Samsung covered like most of the battery problems we had in the past 20 years, but in one single model, in 2 single releases. So that's talking about not being lucky, or maybe just skipping all the QA on their batteries and making sure that everything is there. Because, like battery manufacturers missing components from their batteries, not sure it's that could quite easily be caught by any QA done on the batteries. But they probably just rushed it.
I wonder if they still warn people on planes to not bring Samsung devices, or that's done because they're supposed to be all gone technically because they've been recalled or shut down.
I think they managed to get 96% of them back. But as you might think, there's a couple stupid people that try to keep their hands on their device and probably will try to eBay them in a couple of years. Saying, see, that's the device that Samsung...
The famous exploding device.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, have a part of history.
Yes, an exploding part.
Yeah, buy a part of history.
And anyway, so 96% is good, but it's still not 100%, and I'm not sure. Yeah, who would not want to buy that in the future? Seriously, get a phone, charge it, and then boom, makes no sense.
Yeah.
So over the past couple of months, even years, there were lots of discussion about the Mac App Store being a problematic place for developers. For many, many, many reasons, which we'll not go into the details right now. But this is the only legit and enforced way, if you want, of sharing your apps on the platform. Other than that, you can sign your app and sell it yourself, but then you have to do all your marketing yourself. You also have to handle all the payment and transactions. So basically, there's 2 ways, App Store and not App Store. But now there's a third way that comes out. Following the popularity of the subscription model, there's a new system called Set App. So basically, it's like a mini app store on your macOS computer, where you have a selection of handpicked apps, and instead of paying per app, you pay a subscription, so a monthly subscription, and depending on your usage of the app, whatever you pay will be transferred to the developers. So let's say you install Set App, which is a free app to try. And there's like, I don't know the total number of apps. Maybe there's like 60 apps or something. And you install 2 apps. And then you only use 1 app for the whole month. Because let's say you want iStat menu. This one is in this selection of apps.
Bundle.
Yeah, bundle. And then you install it and you use it all month. And so then your subscription fee will then be given to that developer 100%. Well, 100% minus whatever cut that Set App is keeping, which is I think 30% also. So yeah, it's something different. I've been on the beta for a couple of months already. I've had a couple of apps installed this way. The selection is quite nice, so you can really get a great selection of apps. Let me just open it and see.
Screens also is a nice one.
Yeah, there's 62
Ulysses.
apps right now. Ulysses is in there, Task Paper, Squash if you want to compress your images. Rapid Weaver is in there.
iStats menu, you already said it, right?
Yes, Marked, which is a markdown editor. Lacona, which is a smart assistant. iStat menu. Gemini, which is a duplicate file finder. Pretty nice one.
It's not a space program?
Yeah, also. Focused, which is also a markdown editor. And there's a bunch of like disk drill is in there. And go on Capo and a bunch of those. So yeah, there's 62 apps there. And how it works basically is it adds a folder favorite on your left sidebar in Finder. And you just open this folder, and then if there's an app you want, you just double click it. It's gonna open you a little pop-up. You say open the app, and then it's preparing for first launch. So basically it's downloading the app, installing it, and there's no like warnings or whatever, and the app just launches, and that's it. You just use it like that. So very simple, very easy. From what I've seen, developers talk about this is that they don't know exactly the future of this way of doing business. They're on it because they want to try to have an alternative way of getting revenues, which makes sense. So for those people who tend to use a lot of apps, I don't know what's the pricing. Yeah, so basically for $10 per month, you get access to all 62 of these apps, and you get all the updates for free. So if you, let's say, have 10 apps on your computer that you buy new versions every year, and it's $50 each, then you can get $500 for those, or you can get $10 times 12 months, so $120 per year, and that gets distributed to the apps you really use. So potentially it's less revenue for developers, maybe because they don't sell full versions anymore, or they're going to get more. Well, they probably hope that they're going to get more users this way because that lowers the entry point. And since it's a subscription, then people tend to use the apps, and if they stop paying, they lose the app, so they might gonna stick around longer. So in the long run, it might be a better game. So anyways, developers on this are on board. They seem to like it from what I've could read. It's a different idea, different take on how to make revenue on the Mac App Store, which it's interesting. Personally, there's a bunch of apps I like in there. But I'm still like on the edge of either paying for the apps upgrades, or because most of them I already have. So I've already paid for those. So for example, Clean My Mac and Gemini I already have. So should I pay another $10 per month or just continue as I am? I have to do the math in my head and make sure it makes sense for me to jump on that.
I think it's a good way to also try apps that you'd like to try. Like I see Screens as I think it's $40. So you can just use it for a month for $10, and at the same time use another bunch of apps. And then if you really like it, you buy it outright.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good idea to try those apps in full capability as a trial.
It's a $10 trial. Yeah. Because Mac apps usually tend to be more expensive anyways. But if you want to combine $10 for a trial of a couple of apps before buying them, it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And with the 62 apps and probably even more in the coming months, it tends to be interesting if you are using more than, 5 or 6 apps regularly, then this $10 per month makes sense for you. But in the long run, it's going to be more expensive. But since it's spread across a longer time frame, it's maybe not as hard to swallow. All right, moving on to Gadget Corner. There's a keyboard that was reviewed recently by Jason Snell from 6 Colors. He was on a mission to try to find the best iPad Pro keyboard. He tried the Apple Magic Keyboard. He tried the Logitech Create, the Apple Smart Keyboard, the Razer Mechanical Keyboard. So he tried a bunch of those, and each being good in their own way. There's no real ideal solution. So what he ended up doing is basically traveling with the Apple Magic Keyboard and the Studio Neat Canopy, which is, I think, also the best solution in terms of lightness and compactness of a keyboard. And you don't need to dock anything. You don't need to fiddle around with cases and stuff. So that was quite a good idea. And he recently found another contender. Basically, it's a $150 keyboard called a Bridge keyboard 12.9, which is basically, think of it as the bottom part of a MacBook Air, on which there's little with the little hinges on which you can basically just quickly dock and undock the iPad. And what those hinges give you is the possibility to change the angle, like from any angle all the way to flat. So basically, it's kind of like a real laptop with your iPad. So, and the keyboard is very, very similar to the MacBook Air keyboard. So it's not the new butterfly switch that Apple is promoting with domes and everything. It's the old classic butterfly switch or Apple keyboard, wireless keyboard from a couple years ago. So he finds it not perfect because it's still bulky, but it makes much more sense in terms of having a real keyboard. It's easy to dock and undock because you just have two little hinges, strips if you want, that hold your iPad. So also the keyboard is backlit, so that's a good thing also for when you work in the dark. And it's basically like if you have a 13-inch laptop, but it's a iPad Pro. So yeah, that's pretty nice. So the links will be in the show notes if you want to read his full review. It's very interesting, and I think that's at this price, it's not that expensive. There are others that are more expensive, but you get everything in one little neat package. By comparison, if you have no keyboard and you want the Magic Keyboard and you want the Studio Neat Canopy, then it gets more expensive than this. So think about it, and maybe make your choice based on exactly what your needs are and your preferences. But that's a good contender.
And at first glance, it looks like a fake Chinese MacBook replica, or like this HP laptop that they make now that everything looks like a MacBook.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it doesn't feel cheap. So I haven't seen it like up close and personal, but the idea is nice. The creation itself, the product itself, hopefully it's not cheap looking and cheap feeling. So, and for this review corner for this week, I want to talk about a very small, very simple gadget that is just so smart that you are wondering why it's not being done before. It's basically called the Snap Power. There's two models, the Snap Power Guide Light and the Snap Power Charger. I managed to get my hands on two of those and basically install them in my house to see them in action. So what they are is, when you have an electrical plug in North America, basically it's a little outlet and you got a little faceplate that you screw in. Remove that faceplate and replace it with a new faceplate that has added features. So the first one, the Snap Power Guide Light, basically it's a set of 3 LED lights that are with a light sensor. So basically let's say you have a hallway and your kids want to go to the bathroom during the night. Well, you just swap this plate with a new plate and it uses the power from the outlet to power the LEDs. And the cool thing is that the LEDs are also variable intensity, so they can adjust themselves to the ambient lighting. So in pitch darkness, they are super bright and you can easily lit a hallway or like a center room, not to step on any Legos or stuff like that. Been there, done that. So that's pretty nice. And if there's some light coming in, then they will slightly lower their intensity and eventually just not be lit. Their second product is called the Snap Power Charger, which is basically, like its name implies, it's a 1 amp charger, USB port. So you can use this plate, let's say, on your kitchen counter, and you get a quick and easy access to a 1 amp charger for your iPhone, for example. So that's what I did.
It's a USB port.
Yeah, it's a USB port, very standard. What does it say? It's 200 milliamps, 1 amp output. So yeah, it's very simple. It's UL and certified, and all those electrical certifications are there. So it's not a Chinese product. It's a product from North America. So it's been approved by both government in terms of electricity and components and everything. So.
And there's actually no wires to plug it. It has 2 little prongs and it snaps on the side of your current outlet thing. And it takes power, it draws power from that. Exactly.
The prongs are slightly off-centered. So they're a bit lower than the screw that you screw in the middle. Let's say you have the classic two rounded shape plugs. And basically these just touch the little screws where you attach the wires. So they take their own power like that. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's super well thought of, very simple, and like they say, it takes less than 10 seconds to install if you're quick on your wrist and you're quick to screw in and screw out.
There's also drills.
Yeah, drills. That's also another way to do it, like probably under 5 seconds. So, but yeah, if you're dumb like me and you actually when they ask you which type of outlet do you have, just double check, because I did not double check and I actually had to purchase new outlets just to try them on, because I asked for the classic one, but I have new decor. That's what they called, which is the rectangular ones. So yeah, I had to change my outlets just to be able to try it. But yeah, double check the type of your outlets you have. Some houses have new ones, some outlets have old ones, and some houses have both the old and the new in the same house. So
right, I just checked. Also, I have decor lights or
Wow.
decor outlets.
Cool.
I thought the decor one was for the light switches.
No, it's yeah. Usually that's what they come from. But I think most recent house and condos, they tend to use a decor one because they are different and more modern. I would guess. Yeah, more fancy.
And also, it's been forever. I've been debating which side is the right side for the electrical plugs. Is it supposed to be smiling or is it supposed to be upside down?
Well, I asked my electrical guy
when
he came in, and he says he does it the other way around, which is basically not smiling, but like the eyes at the bottom.
I hate that.
I hate that too, because it doesn't work well with big power bricks. They tend to actually come off. Like if you're like me and you plug your old Nintendo in the wall, and you can be sure that this little big brick, unless your outlet is very tight and your prongs are maybe not perfectly aligned, it will fall for sure while you're playing. So that's the bad part. But yeah, he was just saying that that's a way for him. He doesn't care. His boss says put them upside down, because that way they know that the electrician is the one that installed them. Like if I would change mine, I would not have been smart enough to put them around. I don't know.
I think if I bought a house and they'd be upside down, I'd like take a day and switch them.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, me too. I have an electrician friend, and he said it's just a personal preference thing.
Yeah, I think it is. So, but in this case, for the snap power, you need to have them upside down. For the USB port is okay, but for the guide lights, unless you want to throw light on your wall, then you need to switch them around. So they're available in white, light almond, ivory, and black. So there's two styles, the duplex and the decor, and depending on which one you get, it's $15 for one and $42 for a 3-pack. There's also a 5 and 10 pack available. That's for the guide light, and for the USB charger, it's $20 per charger, and the 3-pack is $54. So it works as advertised. Very simple to install, very efficient. I really hope that they bring out more products, because this is a very smart design, and I could see myself with the exact same thing, but with 2 chargers, for example, one on each side, and the guide lights, they could also be I don't know, maybe color sensitive, like the True Tone on the iPad display, so they can probably take the ambient color and adapt the LED colors with it. There's so many things they can do. So hopefully they're going to take that great idea and push it forward even more.
So I think that's it for this week.
All right. So you can find the show notes at rgba.fm/37. And you can follow us on Twitter at RGBAfm _RGBAfm, sorry. And I'm Valia on Twitter, VALLIERES.
I'm Tyler Menard, TYLERMENARD.
Have a nice week.
Have a nice week.